I want to talk about work just for a moment. We've talked about school. Let's focus on work for a minute here. If you do work, has the last 12 months been a bit weird? Hasn't it? Lots of people working from home. You might find you've been working longer hours. You might find your workload has gone up. You might find you're really quite stressed because demand for whatever it is you do has gone down. You might be stressed because you're on furlough and you haven't been to work for the best part of 15 months and you're not entirely sure if you're going to have a job to go back to in any instance. The dating app Bumble is worried about its staff. It's closed its office for a week so that burnt-out staff can have a break. It's been a busy year for them. Rapid growth in users. You might imagine online dating if you're at home all day and you've got nothing better to do. You might see if there's someone you could hook up with one way or another. It's been a busy year for them. They've had a rapid growth in users. They made their debut on the stock market. All 700 members of Bumble staff have been told to take a paid week off, switch off and focus on themselves. So, could you do with your boss giving you a week off to recharge? If you're in the kitchen at the moment, the home office, which doubles as a kitchen, what would you do with a week fully paid up of nothing, where your boss tells you to switch off and focus on yourself? Tanya Diggory is from Karma, a mental health and wellbeing training organisation. Be interesting to see what Tanya makes of this morning.
Good morning, Stuart. How are you?
Well, I could do with a paid week off, to spend a bit of time reflecting on myself and focusing on how I'm feeling. Is this a good idea?
I think it's a really innovative idea, and I do really respect Whitney Wolfhard's decision to do this. I think, it's very forward-thinking. It's something that, when you think about any organisation, they have a legal duty of care for the well-being of their staff. And, so many studies nowadays are showing that burnout is increasing. And even the World Health Organization not long ago officially recognised burnout as an occupational phenomenon. So I think this is very much needed.
What is burnout and what are some of the signs we should be looking out for then?
So burnout is the result of increased high levels of ongoing stress that's unresolved for a long period of time. So there are certain aspects of stress that can help give us a boost to drive. It wakes us up in the morning, it gets us out of bed. And as a small, short burst of stress, it can help you, to focus or, take action on something. But when you're experiencing stress for a prolonged period of time and you're just telling yourself to keep going, those signs and symptoms will keep building and escalating. And burnout is where you experience complete physical, emotional and mental exhaustion, like a car running with no fuel. It just feels like there's nothing left to give. And some of the signs and symptoms, they're very varied and it depends. It's different for everyone, but some typical common ones can be an increased disconnection with your work, with others around you, feeling quite disempowered, feeling, fluctuations in mood, issues with anxiety, nervousness, overwhelm, fear or worry. A lot of physical symptoms can be associated as well. So issues with, like your appetite changes, pain or tension in different muscles in your body, issues with sleep, which can lead to, decreased levels of motivation, cognitive abilities. So there can be a whole range of symptoms, but it's the length of time at which you're experiencing them and feeling them increase. It can also lead to substance misuse as well, or, addictive behavior to sugar, to coffee, to drugs or alcohol as a way to cope. So if you're noticing that your behavior is shifting and you're looking to substances to help you cope, then that could also be a sign as well.
Some symptoms there for us all to be keeping an eye on, clearly. This is, I would imagine, is a growing problem, isn't it? More people feeling burnt out right now than in the past. Is that the case?
It absolutely is. And of course, as you were mentioning before, the past year has been very strange. It's been very tumultuous and it's been challenging for everyone in different ways. But some more studies have been coming out over the past year as well to highlight the increase of burnout issues. And one in particular was a management consultancy company called Gallup. They surveyed more than 7,500 full-time employees about burnout. And the outcome highlighted that 20% of those workers said that they felt burnt out more often than not, and an additional 44% reported feeling burnt out sometimes. So if we put that into a wider context, nearly 2/3 of those full-time workers were dealing with burnout at some point while at work, which sort of puts into question what must the wider reality be for all professionals when you really think about it, if that was just one singular survey. So I think it's fair to say that burnout has certainly increased over the past year because, we've also dealt with working circumstances and also personal circumstances that are a bit out of the norm from our usual routine. And as human beings, we have a tendency to appreciate feeling a sense of control and having routine in our days, to feel like, we have a sense of control in what we want to do and what we're planning, etc. So that's sort of been blown out of the water in many ways over the last year.
Indeed. Not many companies will give their staff a paid week off so they can rest and focus on themselves. With that in mind, what can we as individuals do to try and stave off burnout?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we think of time off, whether it's a week or whether it's a day or whenever it is, companies are investing in people. I do want to just say that, people are what build a company. So in whatever way that you see appropriate or possible at any time, I would encourage managers and senior leaders to consider, time off, but whatever way makes sense for you. But as a day-to-day management, it's really nurturing that sense of balance. And balance means different things for different people. Some people are, morning people, they get up bright and early. Others, are more switched on sort of later on in the day. And knowing when you feel, that bit more productive or more switched on is important so that you can focus as much as you can your energy on getting things done at that time. But around those times, think about the little micro breaks in the day that you can take because, studies have consistently shown that when we take regular breaks, it helps us to come back to our work or our task or whatever we're doing with higher levels of productivity, more creativity and more switched on focus. So we're able to get our best work done. There's that question about quality over quantity, right? But, making a list or making notes for yourself and heightening your sense of self-awareness around what helps you to feel more relaxed, what helps you to reflect, what helps you to take a bit of a breather, whether it is, taking conscious breathing exercises, a bit of mindfulness, or just going out for a walk, doing some gardening, speaking to someone you love, connecting with people you love and listening to music that uplifts you. Those things really do so much to help manage and maintain our well-being so that we don't feel we're putting so much focus on one area of our lives because we need a sense of balance because we're complex human beings. We're not just one thing. We are multiple things in many, many ways. And we need to have balance of, to nurture our relationships, to look after our work, to look after our health, to look after leisure activities, time to just be, have holidays. All those things are really important to ensure we're functioning at our best on a day-to-day basis. So those little micro breaks throughout the day can help you maintain a sense of balance.
Yeah, don't stare at a screen all day because you'll probably achieve far more if you take a regular break. And as I found yesterday, playing Sophie Ellis-Bextor far too loudly in the car can make you feel really good. That was my little musical interlude last night as I was out and about. It's fabulous.
It boosts your mood. That's brilliant.
It did. Tanya, lovely to talk to you this morning. Thanks very much indeed for coming on to BBC Radio Stoke from Karma, a mental health and wellbeing training organisation. Tanya Diggory with us on BBC Radio Stoke.